this edition of Yojana is a special edition on forts. Highly important for your upcoming prelims. So there are minor things that could be asked directly from this section. So let's proceed. But before we proceed, three important forts which have been discussed in detail: Golconda, Red Fort and Vellore Fort. Besides this, there are series of other forts which have been discussed and which we'll go through. So fort and its role is definitely defense and a community within the walled structure. So it could be made of wall, wood, fencing, deep ditching and so on. There are various ways through which the protective measures were taken into account, and numerous structures which were built within the fort territory. So it could be gates, washtowns, bastions and fortifications. Now what we understand is, what were the ways? There could be excavation of the soil, there could be large rampant structures which could be brought, gates which could be brought. Some of these gates had a point where boiling hot oil or molten lead was poured. So elephant, if it enters, it would be affected and it could not enter into the territory. So there have been numerous number of things which have been discussed as we will proceed. So first of all, the urban civilizations, the fortification started. So the 16 Mahajanpad, the 16 Mahajanpads as they are called as, Patliputra, Kaushambi, Ujjain, Mathura, Takshila were some of the major ones. Especially in the regions of Ganga Yamuna Doab, Mathura was one of the important urban settlements. So fortified cities included Gandhar, Peshawar, which is the Purushpura, and then you had the Uttarpad, which is the route that connects to the North India, right? Now coming on to the various references, Shilparatna and Samarak Ran Sutradhar are the different ways in which the detailed analysis have been quoted for fortification and the construction of fort. But what we would today focus in is on the Earth Shastra by Kautilya, and it talks about the 6 different types of forts. The first is the Jal Durg or the Jal Fort, water fort. It is of 2 types, the Sthal Durg and the Antardweep. Sthal means it is a water fort on the land, for example Gagron, Deeg, Lohagad and Shergarh. So on the land they have deep structures around the fort, and these are the structures where water is there, and in that water crocodiles are usually kept to avoid the enemy's attack. The next one is Antardweep, that is the island fort. This good example is Murud Jangir. Then the next type of fort is the desert fort known as Dhanv or Marudurg. Now this has been seen in Jaisalmer, Lodarwa and Bhatnar in Hanumangarh. These are the areas where at least 5 yojan or 73 kilometers of arid area should be spread across the fort. The next is Giridurg or Hildurg. Now this can be classified into 3. One which is on the flat summit like Chittor and Gwalior is known as the Prantara Durg. The Giri Pashwa Durg, which is a structure on a slope and not on a top. For example, Bundi and Ajmer forts, Taragarh. Guha Durg, that is in a valley. Guha means a valley. So it is surrounded by hills and has signal towers across the hills. The next is Van Durg or the Forest Durg. It has nearly 4 koshak or 14 kilometers of the area surrounded by forest. For example, Ranthambore. Now this can be further divided into 2, Stambha Durg and Khanj Durg. Khanj Durg is a land which is surrounded by marshy area, and Stambha Durg is a land which is surrounded by tall trees. The next is Mahi Durg. Now Mahi means Mati, that is the earthen fort. Now this could be again of various forms. For example, the Mrit Durg, which is the earthen walls, Parigrah Durg, which is earthen walls along with stones and bricks, which has walls nearly 5 meters high and nearly 3 meters at the narrowest section. Pankhadurg, which is surrounded by the marshy land or quicksand. The next is Niridurg. Niridurg, for example, in Nagaur, is a fort which is established or defended by the warriors, and it has a permanent garrison around it. So those were the 6 classifications given by given under Earth Shastra by Kautilya. Now, Besides this, we would talk about the rich legacy of forts across India, the various types of fort and their specific characteristics as we move forward. So in the Maharashtra, military was one of the major components, and we had seen numerous styles of forts. For example, the Ahom hill forts in the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. There were coastal and land forts which were seen. Forts connected to Sikh history, forts connected to Maratha history. There have been various divisions and even loopholes in the various structures which have been found separately these areas. So, fortified cities were maintained. For example, Agra, Delhi, Ahmedabad were some of those. The defense structure of the forts was also unique. For example, when Megasthenes came into India, he talked about the existence of 30 walled towns in the Andhra Pradesh, which is now the Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra area. And he talked about new forts being emerging in these areas. The fort term, according to him, was a stronghold region which provided protection and security to the local people. In Sanskrit, Durg means difficult to approach. In Telugu, Kota is the word which is used. In Kannada, Kote, and in Tamil, Kotai is the word which is used for fortification and the urban fortified areas, right? Now, when we are talking about the Janapads, the Mahajanapads as we said, the literature also mentions the Puras. For example, Dwarka, Ujjain and Indraprasth, which were protected by mud walls. Again, the Kautilya Sapta Sang, that is the 7 elements of the state, talked about Durg as the 4th element or the 4th position. There were sites like Dharin Kota, Sthan Kota, which were the important evidence of defense sites in the ancient areas. So let's talk about some of the forts as we proceed. So Kondapalli Fort is a fort which talks about the history of the past society. Now this fort is located in the Babtala and Pandanadu districts of Andhra Pradesh, the headquarters of the Reddy Kingdom during the 15th century. It was founded by Kakatiyas of Warangal, but later on Adaki moved in and there were subordinate entities that came into force. The contest was held between Gajapatis, Vijayanagar and Bahamani, with Qutub Shahi who later joined in. So it came under the Qutub Shahi rule, followed by Mughal, Nizam and finally the Britishers. This had a double layer of fortification known as Putta Kota, which is the stone defense system, high security towers. The next thing that we would understand is the Kolai Konda Fort. This lies in Mehboob-nagar in Telangana and it is a border fort between the Vijayanagar and the Qutub Shahi kingdoms, and therefore its location was strategic. Finally, it fell into the hands of Bijapur and was recaptured by Sultan later, and during the reign of Abdullah Qutub Shah, the fort was actually developed. So it had decorated arched gateways surrounding it. Warangal Fort in Telangana is again one of the examples of Kakatiya dynasty and its work. So Ekasila Nagar actually became the capital of Kakatiya, and during the reign of Ganpati Dev Maharaj, Warangal Fort was brought into the royal ideas and it actually influenced the rise and fall of many of the South India dynasties. The fortification is important. It is nearly 7.5 kilometers with concentric circular defense systems that have been located. The outer one is nearly 2.4 kilometers and has nearly 45 bastions. There is Ekshila Hill, which is the security tower, and within the border there are numerous temple shrines, the Swayam Prabhu temple complex with 4 gates or the torrents which are located around. So this is an example of the fort. The next is the Chandigiri Fort. Chandigiri lies in Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh, which has 1 mile of circumference and 26 acres of area. Now this had various areas in which it was divided. So the lower fort was the plain area, the upper fort was the hill area. The upper fort had Vishnu and Krishna temples, the lower fort had the Rani Mahal, Raja Mahal and numerous other temples, and then there were rectangular bastions which were seen in the regions. The Gutti Fort is another important fort in Anantapuram district in Andhra Pradesh. Again, it spans for nearly 11 kilometers. There are 14 gates and it is nearly 224 meters above sea level. There have been a parapet wall which is seen around the region. And again, the Kalyan Chalukyas were the ones who are related to it. The fall of the Vijayanagar and then the capture by Adil Shah of Bijapur and Qutub Shahis of Golconda have been seen. The Murari Rao, who was the major Maratha chief, seized the control of Gutti Fort and saw its repair during the later periods. The Bongir Fort by Yadadiri Bhuvangiri district in Telangana came under Kakatiyas and it saw numerous destructions under Alauddin Khilji's rule. Then there was the reign of Velama kings. This fort is at par with Warangal and Rachakonda forts and has been established between the power struggles of Daulat Kuli and Ibrahim Qutub Shahi. So this fort, which is known as Giri Durgam, is on an isolated hill, as you can see, and this is known for its architectural marvels of Kakatiya and Qutub Shahi dynasty. The halls and the arches are known to be traced here. The Penugonda Fort lies in the Satyasai district of Andhra Pradesh. Again, a robust structure with forts that resemble to Hampi and Chandragiri. It became the capital of the 4th dynasty of Vijayanagar. Later on, there were Bijapur forces that were captured by that actually captured the Penugonda, and finally Hyder Ali took the position in this, and later on it came under East India Company. The next is Udaygiri Fort. It is in the PSR Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh, initially under Vijayanagar rule, later on under Gajapati, and finally re-annexed under Vijayanagar by Krishnadev Rai. This fort is again a stronghold of Vijayanagar and its regular contest with Bahmani and Gajapatis. So it has nearly 13 fortresses, 8 on the hill and 5 below, which has bastions, gateways and numerous temples and tombs within the region. Krishna temple built by Krishnadev Rai. For this, the idol was transported to Hampi and then it was later reinstated in this region. So this fort came under Qutub Shahi and later was annexed by East India Company. The next is the El Gandal Fort. Now this is in the Karimnagar district of Telangana, also known as Veligundala. It is again an example of the Kakatiya dynasty and later came into the control of Mughals before going to Nizams, and there have been various powers like Lakshutra, Kalyan, Chalukya, Kakatiya who have been in the region of this fort. The styles are unique pertaining to Qutub Shahi. Again, the bastions resemble the Golconda Naya Killa. So this is the example of the fort. Now coming on to one of the major forts, as we said, Golconda. Golconda comes from the Telugu word Gola Konda, which means a shepherd hill. Now this was initially built by Kakatiya. Overthrowing the Bahmanis, Sultan Kuli established the Qutub Shahi kingdom here and made Golconda its capital. So Qutub Shah actually was a well-known revered figure of Deccani literature. He was a pattern of Telugu literature as well, and he founded Charminar, he founded Hyderabad. Later on, Hassan Tana Shah, which supported this region, became the supporter of the Kuchipudi form of dance in the area. Aurangzeb annexed this and Nizamul Mulk was the name as it was declared by Nizam here. So Nizams followed them and ruled in the region. So Golconda Fort has a very strong range of fortification. 8 entrance gates are there. There are mosque, armories and water supply system within the system. We'll understand this Golconda structure each one by one. So first of all, Golconda is known for its diamond market. So Kohinoor diamond was found in Kollur near the Krishna river by the Sultan Abdul Qutub Shah. So this fort layout is having a circumference of nearly 5 miles, 48 tunnels, 52 windows, 9 doors have been seen here. The 9 gates have been named as Fateh Darwaza, Moti Darwaza, New Fort, Jamali Darwaza, and so on. The list would be available in the handouts. You can check those. So Fateh Darwaza is to the east and is a very important point where the permit entry for Aurangzeb army was given. The turrets of the fort, there are nearly 87 turrets. Katora House is the place where the king and the families used to put the region or fill the region with water from the Durga tank, and it used to produce a sound at the western gate. The echoes would be heard 3 times. So this was the idea for the Katora house. Then we had the Dhan Kota, which was the godown for the grains. Jama Masjid, which was located within the region opposite to the Bala Hisar gate, was seen. Then Masjid-e-Mulla Khalai, which was in the New Fort area. Mulla Khalai was a renowned poet of that time. Bala Hisar was situated, and this construction was again important because it had Darbare-Am, Darbare-Khas. Both were known for the gatherings, special gatherings or common people gatherings. And then there was a curtain wall which was opposite to the Bala Hisar gate. The gate of Bala Hisar was once the garrison for the soldiers. So you can see the images here, and we already talked about pouring hot oil and molten liquid to prevent elephants from entering into the gate. As well as soon as enemies were seen, this system used to come into play. And then acoustics was important. So if you used to clap on one end of the Bala Hisar, through the arches the clap could be seen on the other end at the highest part of the Bala Hisar, indicating that there is a enemy which could be seen. There was also a mortuary bath which was seen within the region. Nagina Bagh, which was the garden, was a special place for occasions together, or was a place at which special occasions and gatherings were held. Then there was a place for rainwater storage. A canal of the Durg tank was seen, through which the Katora house used to be filled, where the echoes were to be produced. Similarly, Ramdas prison was a constructed single entrance structure, which was a prison structure which was seen here. So here is the entry gate with a single structure prison to the jail on the upper veranda, and then there were various worship ceremonies which would be seen on the other end. There is also a temple which is known as the Jagdamba Mahakali temple situated within the fort area. There is an armory known as Ashal Khan, and this talks about the various equipments that would be used with the army. The General Assembly is known as the Baradari or the Darbar Hall. The picture you can see here. The audience hall known as the Diwane-Khas and Diwane-Ham were located on the lower 2 stories, and then there was an underground tunnel that connected to the Gosa Mahal, which was another important structure. So the water arrangement leading towards the palaces was again important because water came from the Durg tank. Royal palaces within the fort were another important structures that could be seen. There was another mosque which was known as the Taramati Mosque located within the area. The next is the Gujarat. Gujarat area has seen numerous important forts. We would focus on 3 major of those. The first is the Uprakot fort in Junagadh. Now this was one of the importantly carved and constructed forts which was seen, and this had a strong legacy from the Chandragupta. Later on, Guptas and Chaudhmasas were seen here. There have been sapphires and pearls which reflect the important role which was played by the defense, played in the defense in the fort, and these are the names which have been usually used to depict the military prowess of the region of Uprakot. The next is the preservation efforts had been done later by Haridas, Viridas and Viharidas, and these were the Diwan of Junagadh during that time. Community got involved, and there have been various legends according to which Juna means the old. So there was a meditating sadhu within the region, and a woodcutter actually talked about the findings, and this area was cleared, the fort was identified, and Navagan was actually restored. Navagan actually restored this region. The next is in the Champaner Pavagadh Fort. Now this is a UNESCO heritage site and is an architectural marvel of medieval Gujarat. It showcases the various influences of the Gujarat and the Champaner area. It talks about the Chavda dynasties and then the Solanki Rajputs and the Chalukyas of Gujarat, mainly the Khichi Chauhans and the Gujarat Sultans who had worked here. This region is known for amazing engineering. The strong walls winds down the slopes, and this protects the city which is lying below. Also, special wells were made to keep the water cool, specifically during the heat, and therefore this this UNESCO heritage is also known for the various pilgrimages in the territory. It includes the Jain temples, it includes the Hindu pilgrimages which are located there. The next is the Diu Fort. Now, Diu Fort was later built by D. João de Castro, and this was a crucial military outpost. This reflects the Portuguese influence and the military design from Portuguese. This has a blend of Indian and Portuguese culture and legacy, which shows the St. Paul's Church being established there. This fort was later on crafted with red sandstone. The entry gate is known as Porta di Bara, which is one of the major points where visitors actually come down and see the Diu Fort. The next is Bhujia Fort. It is on the Bhujia Hill in the Bhuj area of Gujarat. Again, an important region because its name is derived from Bhujang, which is snake, and it is believed that it is protected by the snake gods, and the local people believe that this area is protected by the local gods. So, Dashalji I and Rao Godji's son actually saw the expansion of this fort. So, this is again known for its military engineering. It is a sandstone constructed fort, and there are attacks which have been done from Sindh and Mughals n number of times on this region. Again, this has its own legacy, which talks about a dire situation in which Kutch army talked about intervention and joined a fight against Sher Bulkhand Khan forces, and then Nagababa and their leaders actually held a procession during Nag Panchami. So there is a legend associated with the snakes and the snake god protection in the region. The next is the Bhadra Fort in the walled city of Ahmedabad. This was constructed by Ahmad Shah I, and this derived its name from Bhadrakali temple, which is a form of Lakshmi. It is also known as the Arak Fort, and again it was the area of the old Ahmedabad which was protected under. It is undergoing renovation under Archaeological Survey of India and Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. It is a fusion of architectural styles from Mughal as well as the Indian styles. It does has Bhadrakali temple as well as Jama Masjid within the region, 14 towers, 8 gates and 2 main entrances. Teen Darwaza is on one of the entrances. Maidan Shah. Beyond the Teen Darwaza is the Manek Chowk, which is the main market of the region. There is a Bhadra Fort Tower, which is also called as the Clock Tower. The clock was initially brought from London at a cost of 8,000 and installed here by British East India Company. Initially, it was illuminated by kerosene lamp at the night, but later on it was upgraded with electric light in 1915. So, these forts have been really important in the history. Now, coming on to Delhi. Delhi, there was a Tomar rule, Anangapal, and later named as Lal Kot. So there were fort expansion which was done later by Prithviraj Chauhan. Kila Rai Pithora was one of the 7 Delhi cities which were established. Red Fort is a beautiful version of Mughal, Persian, Temurian and Hindu styles and architectural styles which could be seen. So if we move on to the understanding of the fort, we understand that the expansion was taken place under Prithviraj Chauhan, later under Kila Rai Pithora was created, and then there have been the main entrances, which is the Badoon Gate as given by Ibn Battuta, which is one of the important ones. The fort actually Prithviraj Chauhan lost it after Muhammad Kaur invaded it. Then there were few other things that have been seen in the region. The areas of Saket, Mehruli, Kishangarh and Vasant Kunj are the remnants of the region, we could say. The styles have been seen across the region. In Delhi, the third city, which is the part of Tughlaqabad, have been seen. Tughlaqabad is known for its own specific stone structures. Originally 52 gates, 13 of which are now seen. It had 7 rainwater tanks in the region. Bada Darwaza is the large gate which is the main entry, and it is nested between 2 massive structures and rubble masonries. Mosque Kala-e-Khun Masjid has been seen and built by Sher Shah here. It has 5 horseshoe structures and arches in front of it. There have been numerous different, so these are the 5 arches as you can see. There is another one which is the Purana Kila in the Sher Mandal, and this is a 2-story octagonal tower which has been identified. It is believed to be one of the regions where Humayun established its own library and used to respond to the prayer calls here. It also has the Bawli, which is the stepwell, and a hammam, which is the bathhouse. Lal Darwaza has an impressive gateway of red sandstones which is built. So the fate of the modern Delhi changed over the times, and then we have seen how during Lutyens there was a change by the British government, and there was the building up of the Central Vista or the Kartavya Path with Humayun Darwaza of the Purana Kila as one of the main points. So Red Fort, which was adjacent to the Salimgarh Fort, was built during Islam. The Salimgarh Fort was built by Islam Shah Suri in 1546. Coming on to exactly the Red Fort, as we said, it is an architectural marvel incorporating or a blend of various styles with beautiful pavilions. Diwan-e-Aam, Diwan-e-Khas, Moti Masjid as some of the important ones. The main gate is the Lahori Gate. Then we have the roofed passage which is known as the Chakta Chowk, and then this is again listed under the UNESCO Heritage Site. There is another important fort, really important in Kasorgarh in Kerala. This is known as the Bekal Fort for 40 acres of the area. It is a blend of history and natural beauty that could be seen in the region. The northernmost part of this is actually a unique variety for culture because it is a land of 7 languages, and it includes Malayalam, Tulu, Kannada, Konkani, Urdu, Marathi and Bairi as the 7 languages which have been incorporated under the regions of Kasorgarh. So a very important question that could be possibly seen for your examination. Also we talk about the journey of captivation in the regions of Bekal. So this was under the Mahodayapuram kingdom, and then this was a very crucial part during the 12th century. There were strategic and economic importance under the Keladi Nayaks who took the control in the 16th century. The Chandagiri fort emerged as a power symbol for Nayak dynasty, and this was another important one. However, Hyder Ali established the control in Malabar and made this as one of the major military strongholds under Baikal. So British rule again came in. The fort was later occupied under British East India Company. The headquarters have been established as Bekul Taluk, and this had its own economic and political importance. So Kasorgarh is known as land of forts. It is also called as the fortress land, and Bekal fort is one of the largest of the several forts which have been seen in the nearby areas. For example, Kumbhala, Kunda Muzuki, Benda Duka fort as some of those. The next is Vellore fort. It is known as the South India's great garrison, the iron thorn of South India. This has been the center for Pallavas, Cholas, Marathas, Bijapur Sultan and Arcot Nawabs. This had a strong legacy. Nearly 140 kilometers from Chennai, Vellore Fort is an example of architectural marvel of Tamil Nadu. It is constructed by the Vijayanagar Empire. You had Nayakas who were later seen, and Raya Empire which was later on seen. The Battle of Talikota became an important point where this fort came into news and was a major center. The Raya's battle was also seen in the region on the Madurai and the Gingi dispute which was seen. By the East India Company, this region, a small land of it, was occupied by the Vellore Chandragiri region, which became an important center for the trade. trade. The Gingi fort was again an important center. It sought its aid from Sultan of Bijapur, who captured the north of Vellore, and later on this resulted in the capture by the Bijapur Sultan. So Vellore's mutiny is again an important aspect that you must be familiar with. So there were nearly 1500 spies, and there was a huge spread mutiny because of the colonial Robert Gispi, who actually spread the separation in the region. There were initial implementation general orders which were given by General Engue, known as Engue turbans, but there were native tribes who were constantly fighting with the same issues. Now this became later as a tourist attraction, had granite structures from Arcot and Chittoor. The Jalakantheshwar temple within the Vellore fort area is known for its bronze structures. There were three important palaces: the Tipu Mahal, Begum Mahal and Khandi Mahal. Tipu Mahal with 150 rooms, Hyder Mahal with 200 rooms was seen. There were again zoological park, the Amriti Zoological Park, the Shripuram Golden Temple, Aram Mallai cave paintings were seen within the region. And this fort location is again important. It has been a historic location, but now there have been various Archaeological Survey of India operated sections which have been running, and it has been identified as a 16th century fort. On the issue of Vellore mutiny, a stamp was released by government of Tamil Nadu, and this region had been developed. The last one that we would understand is the medieval ports and forts. So Maharashtra has numerous coastal forts, 28 rivers originating from Sahyadri flowing through the Arabian Sea, the inland creeks, creating a series of forts across these areas. And the creeks, now these creeks were the areas where nearly 21 forts were established. So the name of the creek, the primary port, the forts on the port, the name of the secondary port, and the forts on the hinterland port were identified. So you have the complete list that is seen here. This would be available in the handouts. And definitely India is one of the places which has been listed with 750 cultural, natural and mixed sites under UNESCO, which is again a remarkable development in itself. So some of the list of the fort is again given here, which would be available in the handouts. Thanks for joining in. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.